How can you drive successful business with wellness in mind? I'm Kate Save. The Inspired CEO starts now. Welcome to The Inspired CEO, where each episode we explore the innovative wellness practices that are driving success and longevity in the modern business world. In the fast-paced business world, there are always competing demands. Today, we talk about balance with Lee Holmes, CEO of Supercharged Food and author of Nature's Way to Healing. So, thank you for joining us today, Lee. And I'm so excited to hear about what inspired you to go on this journey. And I know you've had your own health issues, so take us back to the start.
I have. So 12 years ago, I was working in a sort of musical corporate job with the Wiggles, bananas in pajamas. I was a single mum, and I woke up one day literally unable to get out of bed.
Right.
I had no idea what was wrong with me. I had hives covering my whole body. My hair was falling out in clumps. I'd lost a lot of weight. And I went through what I found to be a really complex medical system. I was going from doctor to doctor. No one could really tell me what was wrong with me until eventually I was diagnosed with a non-specific autoimmune disease and something called fibromyalgia.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So from there, I was put on a concoction of different medications, which the side effects were quite a lot. And I tried to also incorporate some natural things in there too. And it was 12 years ago. There wasn't really much out there around natural health.
That's right. And the integrated medicine model wasn't really constructed in a way that was easy to access.
That's absolutely right. And so what I did was I went home from the hospital and I started just cooking really simple meals. Easy, gentle, simple meals, and then I started to get better. And I was using more ingredients, things like turmeric instead of the anti-inflammatories, things like garlic instead of a lot of the antibiotics I was given.
Yes.
And they seemed to also help as well. So I gradually came off the medication and started a more kind of natural approach. And then that's when I started my blog called superchargedfood.com.
Yes.
And I just popped a recipe up there, and it was amazing because people from all over the world, I don't know how they found me, but they connected with me and said, I went through the same thing. I had an autoimmune, I was put on immunosuppressants, I blew up like the Michelin man, and now I've changed my diet and I'm feeling a lot better.
And for those people that are listening, how would you describe fibromyalgia? How would you describe how it felt? And people out there are obviously going through aches and pains, and they don't really know where to start.
For me, I was really stiff waking up in the morning, so I felt like a 95-year-old woman, really stiff, really achy, and throughout the day it wasn't improving. And so it kind of feels a bit like arthritis.
Oh, right. In all of your joints or specific joints?
A lot. And moving around, migrating from one to the other. So one day you'd wake up with a sore back, the next day it was a sore leg. It was all different things like that, and it was extreme tiredness as well.
And so after this, you've got your blog, and then you've developed a range of products.
Yes.
Did that come next?
Yeah, it came next. So I studied clinical nutrition because I really wanted to understand a bit more about natural health and not just lived experience. I really wanted to get the research and get qualifications behind me. So I did that for 6 years, and then through talking to people and learning about their needs and what their wants and things like that, I developed a range of gut-friendly products.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'd since heard that maybe you were affected by another health condition as well. What was that?
I was. I'm so lucky. I get everything. No, I actually got COVID in April 2022 in England, and I was literally stuck there for 3 months in bed and in hospital as well with COVID and long COVID. So yeah, I went through quite a complex journey with long COVID, which is because they found out eventually that I had mast cell activation syndrome, which was part of the autoimmune thing.
Right.
I was susceptible to getting long COVID. It's one of the sort of markers for long COVID. And so again, I sort of found myself back there, back in bed, for 3 months, just going, I feel like I've back to square one again with chronic fatigue and feeling really tired. So from there, I developed a book, Nature's Way to Healing, Long COVID Guide, and I sort of wanted to interview a lot of the experts from around the world because COVID and long COVID is such a new thing.
It is, and apparently 1 in 10 people are affected by it.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe the stats when I read that.
That's right. Well, it was 100 million people, and then last week I read 400 million people. So there's a lot of people suffering with long COVID in various forms.
How would you describe that to people that are listening?
Yeah, so long COVID it's not a respiratory issue as such. They used to think it was, but it's more a multi-system issue. So it can affect your cardiovascular system. I got pericarditis with it.
Right.
It can affect your mind, like brain fog, mental health, extreme fatigue, rashes, gastrointestinal symptoms as well. So it cuts across so many different systems of the body.
And so what did you do to, I guess, recover and to start feeling better?
Yeah, so I started talking to the experts and I really learned about the drivers to long COVID, and there are two main ones, and they are inflammation and mast cell activation. So that is like immune dysregulation as well. So the two together. So I looked at natural ways to really help those. I looked at a low histamine diet, which I've got in the book, all the recipes are low histamine. And then I looked at inflammation and ways to really help inflammation, and I talk about that in the book.
Fantastic. And tell me about this book. What made you, well, you've done 11 books now. When did you write your first book, and what was the inspiration to write a book?
The first book I wrote 12 years ago when I did have that autoimmune issue. And it was really funny. The book just poured out of me. I'm an accidental entrepreneur. I never really sought to do all of this, but it was something that I was so passionate about. And the people that I was meeting with the same issues as me, I really wanted to help them. Like, I'm a bit of an empath at heart, and I really wanted to help them with things. And like you said, at the time, there wasn't really much out there around natural health. So I started to discover things. And as I did, I realized that people need simple, practical, digestible information. And that's kind of what I try and do.
Fantastic. Now, you have a family as well. So how do you balance your work life? Obviously very busy, writing books, selling products, doing your blog.
Yeah.
And how do you balance that with family life, work life, and also you're managing your own health?
Yes, it is hard to balance, isn't it? I think I used to work a lot. I was like a perfectionist, like an A-type personality. Now I really look at my time, and I finish at 5 o'clock. No matter what, I try and really finish at 5 o'clock. And I have things like I do Vedic meditation. So throughout my day, I have these little non-negotiable practices that I do. And the Vedic meditation I found really helpful for me. And then obviously I look at nutrition, and I try and eat well during the day and take breaks and that kind of thing. And then managing family, I take the weekends off now. I try not to work on the weekends, spend time with my family and friends.
Beautiful. And I heard you have a pretty strict morning routine. So take us through your morning routine.
Yeah, my morning routine is I wake up and I instantly do Vedic meditation for 23 minutes.
And what does that look like?
So Vedic meditation, I do it for 20 minutes to start with, and it's a mantra that you it's one word that you repeat over and over, and you can do it in bed. It's not like you have to be sitting there like a pretzel, with your legs crossed. So you can do it in bed, super easy. So I'm saying this word for 20 minutes, and then I do 1 minute of what I call percolation, where I just let it sit, and I let everything just settle and sit. And then I do 2 minutes of what I call manifestation. So I just picture myself in certain things. The other day, I was picturing myself having a lap cat, because my cat is a narcissist. She will not go anywhere near me unless she wants food. So I was like, I really wish I could have a lap cat. And I'm not joking. That night she came and sat on my lap for 2 hours.
Wow.
So I believe in manifestation. So I do the meditation to start with.
Yes.
And then I'll have a chai, because I love chai.
Oh,
so
I love chai as well.
Yeah.
And that you said you've got some Indian heritage
Yes.
too. So
yeah, I'm
those
half
spices?
Indian. Yeah,
oh,
love
wow.
the spices, love chai. And then I'll try and do some form of exercise, so a little walk or go to the gym or something gentle, and then I'll get into my day. So I try and do things for myself first and then get into the day.
And I'd also heard that aside from the fibromyalgia, you had Crohn's disease as well?
Yeah, that was the autoimmune.
Yes.
It was a non-specific in the beginning, and then eventually they said it was Crohn's.
Then you've dealt with long COVID,
Yeah.
and you had a car accident?
I did have a car accident, yeah. I had a near-fatal car accident, which was very scary up in the Gold Coast, yes.
Goodness me. And you had a bit of a spiritual moment. I've been listening and following what you're doing.
Okay.
So tell our watchers what happened.
Yeah, so I was driving along. I had been to the dentist. I'd been given a sedative.
Yes.
And I fell asleep at the wheel. and drove off the highway really fast, flipped my car, ended up upside down, and I had to crawl out of a car window. And I crawled out of it, and I stood up, and a lady had been following me on the road, and she had come up and said, I was in the middle of the Australian bush, and she said, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then I just fainted. Next minute, you know, ambulances and everything arrived. So it was really scary. I did have a moment as I was flying through the air, and I could feel and hear the bushes along the windows scratching. And I saw a light and a tunnel. And I was at the end of that tunnel, and it was so beautiful. It was the most beautiful experience. I can't even explain it. It was like love. It felt really comforting. And then I woke up in the car upside down, and then got out of the car. So yeah, it was a bit of a spiritual experience. And I think from that, I've really learned to live more in the moment and enjoy my life more. You know, live my best life, as they say.
And it sounds like this 12-year journey, there's been lots of those moments where you've really wanted to have a big impact. What is the moment you're most proud of, or what is the one that you think gave you that pivot to really change your direction?
I think the car accident was probably the major moment in really being able to say to myself, it's not all just about work and business. It is, you know, it is about people and connecting and family. And so I softened a bit, I think, after that, and I started enjoying myself a bit more.
And how do you enjoy yourself? How do you unwind? So you start the day in a way to build yourself up, and you have a strict routine. How do you wind down? So what happens at 5 o'clock when you switch off?
At 5 o'clock I have an early dinner,
Yes.
and then sometimes I'll go for a little walk down to the beach, because I live near the beach, and I'll just sit there. I might watch the sunset. It's very much about nature for me, and then hanging out with my animals. My dog and my cat, I love them. So yeah, it's just natural, simple things, I think. I think simplicity for me is the key.
That is just such a wonderful story. So many, I guess, highlights and lowlights, and you've used the adversity to really make a difference and see the world in a different way. So thank you so much for coming onto the show and sharing.
Thank you so much for having me.
So that's the program for now. Thank you.
You're watching Ticker. We'll have more in just a few minutes.